So let's just take a moment and let's ask ourselves, what is coming up in us that's reflecting us in this moment? And tonight we are talking about breaking the chains of the past. And what I do know and what I've learned about our past is that we are sometimes programming our presence with our past. Why? Because we constantly go back to those old stories that live within us. We go back to the old hurts. We go back to what I call the givings. This is what your mama gave you, what your daddy gave you, what your teacher gave you, the givings. I'm going to tell you a story about this little black boy growing up in New Jersey. And his mother would tell him constantly that you have to work twice as hard to get half as far as your white counterparts. And this story was told so many times. So as this little boy was growing up, he realized that the only way that he could get approval was to continue to work hard to get it. But you really wouldn't get the full approval. You only get half the approval. And this consciousness or this mindset went into this young man's life, who now is a young man, and went off and he understood the purpose of his life was to work hard. And even when he did a great job, this young man would never ever see that the brilliance of what he was doing. He would do phenomenal things, and he would never believe it was good enough. So he carried a lot of shame, blame, a lot of self-hatred, because he could never be good enough. And then he found new thought. And this young man realized that all the things that was holding him back wasn't what he was doing, it was what he was thinking and believing. And of course, you probably already guessed that this young man is myself. So living these ideas of what your mother, your father, your brother, your upbringing gave you is a change that we are learning to break. We're learning to reteach ourselves. We're learning to understand that this is someone else's experience of our own. Some of the chains that we are breaking and we're talking about tonight is maybe anger, hurt, unforgiveness. Jenny Barnett, what did you put in there? Not worthy? Abandonment. Okay, so we'll throw that one in there as well. It doesn't matter what the chains are, it still does the same thing. It hooks us. It holds us back. It really stops us from being the great iteration of spirit that we're called to be. Sometimes we're holding chains of the past failures that we have. And I don't call them failures. I don't call them mistakes. I call them opportunities to grow, because I believe that is how life works. We might have made a step over to the right, and maybe we should have made a step over to the left, but I'm here to tell you that this step was actually divinely guided so that you may wake up to who and what you are. And then sometimes we are even chasing the past success. You remember that idea of when you did something so great, and what was the term that we used to say? You're chasing your glory days. A lot of us athletes, including myself, have always chased that high point. See, when I was in the pinnacle of my Equinox days, I was on fitness magazines. I was a fitness model, doing all the things that we do when we're rising up for that whole entire experience of notoriety. And one day, 2010, I was about to graduate from practitioner training, and something happened where I became paralyzed on the right side of my body. I couldn't move. Went to the hospital, had to go into surgery. And then I realized, okay, something's happening here, but I still was able to do all the things that I was called to do in the fitness world. Then in 2018, it happened again. And as I'm laying in the bed, you probably heard the story, I'm hearing God saying to me, okay, my son, are you ready? Are you ready to be the minister I'm calling you to be? And I realized that was a shift, but I still wasn't happy with giving up my success. Sometimes you're holding on to the chains of fear. What are we afraid of? We're afraid of not being liked. We're afraid of missing the mark. We're afraid of potentially failing again. So the fear of failure is there. That's a chain as well. Here's one that I love, and I was writing this and I was saying, what's another chain? And it's a chain of complacency. And complacency is very sneaky. Complacency is like a warm blanket you wrap around yourself on a cold night, although it's pretty much summer here now, but just go with me on this story. It's like those winter nights where it's cold and you got your blanket on, you're sitting there, you're eating your soup, you're watching Netflix, and you're comfortable and you don't want to move. See, complacency says, I'm good, you're good enough right where you are, you don't have to step out. These are the chains that hold us back. What are the chains that hold you back? See, these chains become familiar. They become comfortable. They allows us to create an identity. The identity is what Ram Dass calls it, is the drag that we like to wear. But see, our true nature, our God nature, is calling us forth to do something great, to be something great. It's the excuse that excuses us from stepping out and making a risk. See, I believe this. You cannot have greatness without vulnerability. You got to be in that place of, oh my goodness, I'm going to be vulnerable in front of someone. I'm going to try to do something. You're vulnerable. But Spirit is connecting with you, holding you. The brain is wired, and we wired the brain for survival. But the Spirit is saying, nope, there's something greater. Here's our wake-up call. There's a blueprint that is within our spirit, within our soul, that is guiding us. The blueprint that I began to study when I came to Science of Mind was the teaching of Yeshua ben Joseph. Yeshua ben Joseph gave us 3 teachings. Main teaching, it is done as you believe. Knock and the door shall be open. Seek and ye shall find. And what I believe Yeshua was talking about, also known as Jesus the Christ, I believe that he was teaching us that whatever we believe in our minds, it shall be. See, what is a belief? It's the thoughts we keep telling ourselves over and over again, and we believe it. And guess what? Belief is not always truth. We see that right now. We see what's happening right now. We coined this term over the pandemic. What was it called? We said it was alternative truths or optional truths or other truths, alternative facts. That's it. So we can actually believe something and it not be true. I'm going to ask you to go back into your childhood. What are some of the cliches that your mother gave you? What are some of those? Maybe you might have heard this. Money don't grow on trees. Have you ever heard that before? And so we begin to have a chain that there is not enoughness, but our teaching says that we are connected to a God that is endless, a source that is endless. It's infinite. It moves forward. But we, in our mind, thinks, okay, so money don't grow on trees, so watch out. If you look at a tree and you think about how is money made? Paper money is made from what? Where does it come from? So actually, money does grow on trees, y'all. Think about that. What about this one? It's too good to be true. And Spirit goes, you're absolutely right. Let's shut that down. It is too good to be true. Be careful with the words you speak. Because what we're doing is we're waiting for, have you heard this term, for the other true shoe to drop. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're waiting for something to take away your blessings. See, your blessings can't go away unless you're willing to give it away. How about this one? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And us in this mature audience, I'm going to call us the mature audiences today, we might believe that the other one that goes with that, it is what it is. My mama used to say it all the time, it is what it is. It's not is what it is. It is what we speak it to be. It is not is what it is. What about this one? Okay, I'm going to tell you a little story. I love this story. My mother, and bless her, I love my mama. 93, I love her. You all know I love my mama. But I got to tell you a story. When we go into the bathroom, because my mother was a single mother with 3 kids, and she knew how to make it stretch. When we go into the bathroom, she used to yell in the bathroom, "You're only allowed to use 2 sheets." Think about it. You're only allowed to use 2 sheets in there. God bless her. God bless her. But she made that stretch. I would always use 4 or 5 sheets. So, just, so. But, always say, you don't deserve. Yeah, exactly. You don't deserve nice things. Yeah, absolutely. So here's what I want you to do. Before we go on, I want us to look at this video. And this video for me really talked about someone who didn't let their circumstances stop their greatness of what they're called to do. A couple things I want you to think about here. I want you to look at your chains not as something that is bad or not something that is wrong. I want you to look at your chains, your past chains, with gratitude. Why? Because your chains got you here. Your chains got you to awaken so you can come through that door. Like my brother Jamie has always talked about his sobriety. Everything that he had done got him right to where he needs to be, which is right here. So we can give thanks for all the chains. We can give thanks for all the times that we felt like we missed the mark. The other chains, I really want to talk about this. If you want to move forward in your life, we must learn to forgive. We must learn to forgive. And we think about forgiveness as forgiving someone else that did us wrong. How about forgiving yourself? Because a lot of us are still carrying the shame, the blame of the missteps. A lot of us are still carrying the shame and the blame of the times that we didn't shine the highest that we were going to shine. But I want to tell you that that was a divine plan, your blueprint to get you to the next place. What I'd love to do is when we are in that, I'm going to speak for me. When I get into the shame and blame, I do something called recognize and shift. Recognize where you are. Acknowledge it. Now you begin to shift where you want to be. Forgive, forgive, forgive. Forgive your past. Forgive all the hurts. Forgive all the relationships. Forgive all the no's. How many jobs have you went up for, Susan, and you got a no? Just we forgive all of that. Because if we don't, we're still holding on to it. You probably got every single audition you ever did for Susan, didn't you? So, but you can get to forgive all that, all the things that you did. That was a joke. And forgive your job. Forgive your job that everybody who talked wrong about you and your job or someone who fired you. You got to forgive the heartache because it's a freedom that we're looking for. I'm going to end with this little bit, and then we're going to go into meditation. I have an acronym for LIBERATE. Is that what we're here to do? L is this. Let go. Let go of everything that no longer serves your vision. Let go of the givings your mother gave you, your father gave you, all the cliches, all the race consciousness that we live. The race consciousness says that we are going to hell in a handbag. God says, no, you're in heaven. You need to see it. Liberate yourself. Let go. I identify your inner narrative because we all have that inner narrative over and over again. Have you ever had, and Dr. Sidney said this on Sunday, but have you ever had that conversation after you've had the argument, you're still having the argument, and you're by yourself? You're having the argument in the bathroom, you're having it in the shower, you're having it while you're driving the car, and if I ever see her again, I'm going to tell her exactly this is what I'm going to tell her. Have you had that? Release that inner dialogue. The only dialogue you need to have, what Ernest Holmes are called, is the dialogue of your truth. Affirm the truth of who you are. We can break the cycle. That's the B. Break the cycle. All the things that you do over and over again. And I heard this before that, you know what insanity is? You know what insanity is? No. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. You know what the result's going to be, and you keep doing it. That's insanity. Because here's the truth. You know if you go down that path and you go meet JoJo or Pookie or Nene, you know what's going to happen. Break the cycle. E, you are enough. This is the story you keep telling ourselves that we are not enough. You are enough. You are enough. You are enough. Look at someone in the room right now and say, you are enough. You are more than enough. R, we got to release everything in gratitude. Release everything in gratitude. And A, we want to act with spiritual authority, audacity. T is trust the present moment, not your past. Trust this moment. And E, we got to elevate our consciousness. And that's what we're going to do right now. Can we meditate? Let's do it. Let's take this all into meditation.